People believe that the paranormal and science are separate. But what they don't know, that they are both joined together as one. Join Ben and Louisa on their quest as they bring together science, occult, and the paranormal, only on Occult, History, and Science with Ben and Lou.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Sorry, guys.
Ben's just confused himself. It's fine. How is everybody anyway on this fine Sunday evening?
Sorry, guys. My brain is completely fried.
Mm.
I've been dealing with the worst kind of demon today. A washing machine.
Yeah. All day it's been trying to work out why our new washing machine hasn't been working. Taking it in, out, keep pressing buttons, doing stuff, looking on the manual, looking online. Why is it not working? It's something to do with the water coming in.
It's like the hose kinked its back, and every time I pushed the machine in, I would cut the water flow.
Yeah, it's fine when it's out. But when you push it in, it's fine to go, but there's a kink in it. So, taking him all day to figure that out.
Shut up, you.
Oh dear. Hi,
Thank you.
Ned. Hi, Kate. Yes, dear. Good boy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Then what you like.
Yeah. I'm a little bit slow, a little bit stupid.
Wait, I had to start my news on people.
Oh no, that's what you're watching. I'm intrigued. Big words, me.
I'll ask you to spell it.
Obviously, David was going to come and join us, but we've not. I'm pretty sure he's forgot. So,
Never mind.
leave you in the capable hands.
Tis fine, tis fine.
If anyone's actually noticed, I've changed the purple thing. See? No, I normally just hit things or cut things off. Hey, Charles. Yes, I leave you in the capable hands of Lou, if she does talky talky, poshy poshy.
Don't fussy fussy, and you're going to give the explanation.
Yes.
Why are you taking weathering off?
I'm going to fiddle with her.
Okay. So, 2 weeks ago, we were making our way through this book. Well, we made a start anyway. And we're on about white magic, which is the angelic side of things. And yeah, we're just talking about the different celestial spirits, etc. So we're going on to the next one. Bethel administers the influence of Jupiter. He who can obtain his assistance may rise to the highest dignities. He dispenses treasures, subjects the spirits of air to the magus, and gives a true answer. These intelligences carry all things, even precious stones, with marvelous medicines from one place to another. The spirit of Jupiter gives other ministering spirits of the firmament. He can extend life to 700 years. Oh, extend life even 700 years, God willing. He has subject to him 42 kings, 35 princes, 28 dukes, 21 councillors, 14 servants, 7 messengers, and 2,900 legions of spirits. He instructs judges in the administration of equal justice to the poor as well as to the rich. He inspires his mages with the love of justice, gives him true vision-haunted dreams, and assists in the attainment of venerable functions and dignities. He gives understanding to the old, even to fools and idiots, strengthens the weak memory, beautifies men under his influence, endows them with eloquence before princes and the great of the world, and makes them gentle, courteous, and noble. He gives a number of serving spirits for various purposes, and he appoints ministering spirits to teach the manufacture of gold from tin. This princely angel is good fortune, ipsa persona. He dispenses a profusion of gifts, especially of the spiritual kind. His ministers can bring the object of your desires, even from India and other lands of the Orient. They teach distillation from various herbs and roots, and the preparation all kinds of physics and spices. This spirit must be adjured on Monday in Pentecost at the first hour of sunrise. On son. Even Benley struggled to get on tonight.
Welcome.
Yeah, again, any questions about this? Pop them up. Any questions in general? We don't mind diverting. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, who's the spirit of Jupiter, wasn't he?
Planetary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Planetary spirits.
Yeah, planetary spirits. And we're going to Phaleg is the master of matters which are ascribed to Mars, but he is also the Prince of Peace. That's interesting because Mars, you can say it with war and stuff, but he's a Prince of Peace.
Yeah.
Whoever receives his signum is exalted to supreme dignities. He teaches military science and medicine, how to judge and govern well, to find, extract, and manipulate iron, and how to manufacture gold. This is the third guy that we've come across, say guy, that turns different metals into gold. What's that all about, Ben?
It is that every person in the world has an ability and addiction to gold. When you look back in ancient history, all the gods required gold. That's why there's such an obsession with gold. It's man's prerogative to aim for the ability to create gold out of nothing. It's the reason and the birth of alchemy. Ultimate thing with alchemy is to turn lead into gold, which has been done before.
I've not shared it to the group.
Yeah, which they did try in America, but it required an entire nuclear power plant energy running at full capacity for, I think it was nearly a day. And they created about 4 grams of gold out of, I think it was a ton of lead, something like that. You can actually find the story on Google. There's an actual experiment done just to try and prove the point. On a random fact, that's why there's the ancient astronaut theory, is that they all require gold because everything we use now, electrical devices, including the phone in front of you, has gold in it. Isn't it? It's part of an electrical unit system. Charles, I panned for gold. Brilliant, man.
Right, shared.
Brilliant. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, he must be called on a Tuesday at the first hour of sunrise between 7 and 8 in the morning and between 2 and 3 in the afternoon during the increasing moon. Och is a sovereign over things belonging to the sun. He can extend life to 600 years, ensuring constant health and wisdom. He sends the most excellent angels, teachers. Nala, sweetie, shush. Dog's just whining in the background. Ben. Right, we've got Clashons. We've got Who Made the Gold? Who Made the Gold?
Well, gold's a natural format, like a natural formation that we have within, obviously, the planet. It's also found on asteroids.
Yeah. I was saying about this being a third one. You've got Arathron, spirit of Saturn. He turns things into gold. Got Bethor. He turns what is he turn to gold? Tin. And then Phaleg, he turns iron into gold.
They all turn different materials into gold.
Mhm. And Kate says, is there a link to auras being gold and halos on gods and angels, etc.?
Because it is what's classed as a pure metal. Random fact for you: never pay tax on gold ever. Well, it's weird because you pay tax, or you don't pay tax on platinum, but you pay tax on silver. Don't pay it on gold. It's because it is one of the purest metals. We became obsessed with it for some bizarre reason. Random fact though, Vikings are Nordics, Viking era. Vikings were the only ones that weren't obsessed with gold. They preferred silver over gold. You take the gold that they stole from monuments and places like that in Europe, they'd take it, sell it in Byzantium, which is now like Istanbul, and they'd swap it there for silver. Yeah, random fact.
Very good.
Yeah, just because it's pure, it's a pure material.
Okay. Yeah. So Ock, he sends the most excellent angels, teaches a perfect medical science, can change anything into the purest gold. Anything. Gives a purse in which gold grows. We need that. Ben, can we get in touch with this? Yes. That's where I was. Prepares the precious metal in the mountains during a long period, by alchemy in a briefer space, and by the magic in a single moment. Whosoever receives his sign, the kings of the earth must venerate as a divine being. He commands 36,536 legions of spirits. He alone administers all things. All intelligences serve him. He and his subjects seldom exalt anyone till they have attained middle age. Neither can they impart the highest rank, but their advice is excellent in several matters, especially in medicine, including the cure of wounds caused by the bite of a snake, scorpion, or spider.
Sorry, guys. Just in case you're all wondering what I'm actually doing, can't really. I don't know how much I can say about it in short.
Which am I?
Obviously, well, they know I've been on the show. They know I'm going to go on about with the show. I'm dealing with another case from Help, but I don't know how much I can tell on.
Nothing right now.
Yeah, so that's what I'm busy doing.
You're doing research.
Yes, I'm doing research. Yes, I can't really say anything because I don't know what contracts are like. I might get shot. I didn't really look through my contract properly. Yes.
Ben's doing research. What we got? Eric says he's found fool's gold before. Oh, I got it jumped up. That must be why I like silver more than gold. I prefer the silver or white gold to this one.
You prefer white gold, don't you?
Yeah, silver or white gold.
Wedding ring and engagement ring is white gold.
Yes, they are. Right, Ben.
Yeah.
Why are spiders looked down on? I understand serpents because of the Bible, etc.
Actually, the serpent's not really mentioned properly in the Bible.
Oh, one on the face.
Oh, on the face. Oh dear. Never mind. So sad.
Was that a mistake? Have we offended?
If I've
Hands
offended,
up! Who did the angry face?
if I've offended someone, that's fine.
Well, you've not really said anything.
Doesn't matter.
It's just your face.
Yeah, my face may offend people. I don't really care. The fear of spiders is the same as the fear of falling, and I can't remember what the other. It was fear of dark, fear of spider, fear of arachnids, fear of falling, and I think the other one was fear of drowning. They're what's known as primordial fears. So they are in our DNA for us to be scared of these because these were considered like predatorial fears, and when through paths of evolution. So I hope that kind of explains it on like a really simple basis. It's the best way I got explained to it. And I always got told that if you can't explain something as if you're explaining it to a 5-year-old, you don't fully understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, do that says keep stum, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I have to keep stum, but keep your eyes peeled.
Good evening, Ray. Annette says, I cannot wear any metals. I have an allergy to them.
Yep. Annette, I love you, but you would have been considered a werewolf back in the time.
Annette's a werewolf?
Back in the Middle Ages. Back in the Middle Ages, those people that had the rare condition where you were allergic to silver, which people do have, you were considered to have werewolf blood, and you were hunted.
Oh. At least we moved on a bit.
Sometimes people who were albinos, they were considered vampires.
Me, I apologise.
No,
all right.
fine.
I'll look back later.
It's fine. I'm not really. Not really.
I have a really weird phobia. Go on, then what's your really weird phobia, Marie?
I have a phobia of paying taxes.
That was just something you don't like. That makes sense. Okie dokie. Well, the spirit of soul must be invoked on a Sunday morning at sunrise. That's what it says on Soul. One sentence. Then we go to Haggith.
Thanks.
Haggith. Haggith. Hagith. Haggith.
Haggith.
Well, it doesn't tell you where to put the emphasis, does it?
Haggith.
Haggith. Administers in venereal concerns.
It was called the Haggith.
No, that burns night. I'm going to another comment. Come on. What we've got here. Eric says, okay, I don't have ears. And that says, thanks, Ben. Yeah, he's right about metal allergies. Marie says, I'm afraid of boiled sweets and lollipops. Never heard of that one.
Yeah. Did you choke or anything when you was a small child?
Jeanette says, I can never wear silver, but now I react with some gold and can wear silver.
Silver's not as pure as it used to be.
Yvonne says, my only fear is spiders. Eric says, that's a haggis.
I did. I'm literally an extra and I thought you said haggis.
No.
We're going to summon the great haggis. That was I don't even know what accent that was. I apologise for any accent that I may have just offended with that accent, because even I can't work out what that was.
That's it. Kate says, I'm scared of everything. And Annette says, my only fear is deep water. Oh, Charles has popped up with, I'm afraid of the nearest black hole to Earth.
Charles, even I'm scared of that. The great black abyss. You can see it in the sky. Me and Charles share a good fear.
Haggis. Anyway, he makes beautiful to the being to whom he gives his sign and endows him with physical grace. He changes copper into gold instantaneously, gives spirits full of faithful service, has 4,000 legions of angels with kings occasionally established over them, 1 over every 1,000. He teaches the knowledge of herbs, plants, roots, and spices. Ben, can you just shut the dog up a little bit, please? He instructs in the arcana of health, skill, and beauty. He is the most rapid of all spirits. He gives good counsellors, embroiderers, seamstresses in silk, the latter all neat and skillful. Oh my gosh, we're going to big one, come on. And then we got, what have we got? Jeanette says she don't do spiders. Bon says, I used to be scared of flying, but conquered that. Marie says, it's because I nearly choked on a Nuttall's Minto when I was in the cinema watching He-Man, and kids running around not holding the lollipop sticks makes my skin crawl. Fair enough. Ben, why are you sticking your head through the window?
Because the show flash and I thought someone was taking a photograph of the bike. That explains to him why I should never take a photograph of a motorbike.
Kate says, do something we don't know. It must be, do you know something we don't about this black hole? And Wild Bill's joined us. Hiya.
Captain Wild Bill. Nice to see you, man.
Go on, do you know something about this black hole that we don't know?
Kate, stop worrying. I know all my predictions last year came all true.
Which is why you're not speaking this year.
Which is why I'm not speaking this year.
We had a lovely dog walk yesterday when you spoke about it all to me. I was just like, is there anything good happening? It's like, yes, we're going on a honeymoon.
Yeah. Yes. Don't worry. We're not going to suddenly get sucked into a black hole. Got more chances of being killed by a cow. Trust me, yeah. Actual fact, you're more likely to be killed by a cow than you are by a shark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why the UK is dangerous.
Opposite Mr. and Mrs. Lol.
It's been true.
Love it.
Yeah.
He's smiling.
Sorry.
Oh my
I
God.
get excited when I see it.
Oh dear. Right. He must be invoked in the increasing moon on a Friday at the first hour of sunrise or sunset. Ophiel administers mercurial things. His legions exceed 100,000. He grants ministering angels willingly, teaches all arts, and to whomsoever he gives his sign, he imparts the power of instantaneous extraction, the philosophical stirring out of Mercury. From him you may learn astrology, the learned professors, mining, alchemy, statutory, painting, the removal of mountains into the sea, the erection of bridges, the preparation of magic mirrors and other instruments, excellence in their letter writing, editing, and penmanship. Also, elocution, jurisprudence, and interaction of holy writ. Nearly says that, Grasland. He gives good counsel, right judgment, and skill in all subtle arts. When they decided, like these spirits and whatnot, did they just like say you have to pick some completely random like topics to be master of at each end of scale? How did they come across like what they actually want you to be able to teach people?
I'll explain, but it would require me doing a show for about 4 hours.
Right, I'll get into explain to me. We'll condense it. Nobody got time for them black holes.
Pretty sure there is a black hole in my stomach though.
Right. Anyway, he must be adjourned on a Wednesday at the first hour of sunrise and during the increasing moon. Bull administers all things belonging to the moon. He can change all metals into silver, heal dropsy, give undines serving man invisible corporeal shapes, and can lengthen life to 300 years. You may obtain him from an angel who is a physician, a philosopher, an artist, and a naturist, or transcendentalist. He gives physic for the eyes and remedies against vertigo, epilepsy, and strabism or presbytism. He grants also a good sight and reliable information on many subjects, including things future which are of a more personal character. He's called on a Monday at the first hour of sunrise in the increasing moon. The ritual informs us that each of the 7 celestial stewards can operate after a number of methods, either according to the common course of nature or by the more arcane exercise of willpower, and that each can accomplish in a very brief period what, without his interference, would require much time and preparation. Each of these intelligences must be invoked between 7 and 8 in the forenoon, or between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, on any day of the week, but solely in the hours which he governs, the moon being on the increase. An acquaintance with the names and offices of these spirits is by no means sufficient to enter into a state of correspondence with their exultant intelligence, and many preparations for the successful evocation of angels are described by the authority I have cited, of which some are methodically enumerated after the following fashion. I know, good job we got comments because I can, have a break. There are micro black holes all around us.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate says, by the way, the mirror is fine now, not tormenting for baby Mochi anymore. Washing it seemed to stop any weird crap amazingly.
Told you. Good. Good thing. Now, just out of curiosity, obviously we know I've done a show on obviously the demonics and stuff, the high rankings. Anyone notice the difference between the fact that the demonics have control of legions of 33 and I think the biggest one being like 68 legions
Mm-hmm.
of demons.
Mm-hmm.
These guys control a lot more legions and they
Mhm.
refer to them as spirits.
Maybe it's spirits of the planet. Mhm. Right. Number 1. The Talmud. Otherwise the magus in his early grade of initiation shall ponder day and night on the method of attaining a true knowledge of God, not only by the word which has been manifested from the beginning of the world, but also from the laws of the cosmos and the admirable practical secrets which may be learned from the study of the visible and invisible creatures of God. 2. The magus shall learn to know himself, to distinguish between his mortal and immortal parts, and the spheres to which they severely belong. Number 3. By his immortal nature he shall study to love God, to adore and to fear him in spirit and in truth, but he must also in his mortal body endeavour to be useful to his neighbours and glorify his Maker. These are the highest commandments of magic, by which you shall obtain the veritable pneumatology through the divine truth and wisdom, and you shall be served by angelical creatures, not only in secret, but publicly and face to face.
Just to verify, well, I know we're going on a lot about God in this book. However, it's not Christian God they're going on about. It's not Abrahamic God they're going on about.
And Jacqueline says, hi everyone, Mr. and Mrs.
Hi, Jacqueline.
And Charles says, Ben are fairy, a legion.
Fairies are classed as legionaries, yes. I am going to sneeze, so I apologize.
Thank you for the update. That was a yawn, not a sneeze, honey.
No. I'm going to sneeze.
Are you going to sneeze? Or are you just yawning?
I don't.
You don't know. Number 4.
That's what sneeze is very loud.
As everyone is destined from his mother's womb to a certain commerce of life, the disciple should pause to consider whether he's born to magic and to what branch. By noting the measure of success in the different sections of operation, he may soon ascertain the second point. 5. The intended magus shall be discreet and faithful. He shall never reveal what he has been told by a spirit. Daniel was commanded to set a seal on several matters. Paul was forbidden to reveal what he beheld in his ecstasy. The importance of this ordination cannot be exaggerated. 6. Say very frequently with David, take not thy Holy Spirit of strength away from me. Lead me not into temptation. 7. Accustom yourself to the evocation of spirits. You cannot gather grapes from thorns, nor figs from thistles. Tongue twister. Prove all things and hold fast that which is good. Avoid all that is contrary to the will of God. 8. Avoid all superstition, which consists of the attribution of divine power to things which are without divinity, and in the acceptation of divine service without a command from God, the illusion of diabolical magic, which arrogates to the prince of darkness the adoration due to God, are included under this name. 9. Avoid the deceitful imitation of the devil, who, by the perversion of the eugic powers concealed in the word of God, becomes a fraudulent imitator of things which belong to God.
Basically, in layman's terms, don't fall for a fake devil. Weird as it sounds, don't fall for the imposter of the devil. Because as we've shown on this show, and as we do in the talks as well, there's 3 kinds of devils in the world. One of them right, the other 2 false.
Okay. When these conditions have been fulfilled and the operator proceeds to the practice, he should devote a special preparatory period to profound contemplation on the serious and sacred business which he has voluntarily taken in hand, and must labour to present himself before his supreme teacher with a pure heart, an undefiled mouth, and innocent hands. He must bathe his body and purge it from all uncleanliness, wear newly washed garments, confess his sins, and abstain from wine, as well as all unchastity, for the space of 3 days. He should also give alms to the poor, and when the eve of operation has at length arrived, he must dine moderately at noon and sup on bread and water. Then on the following day he must seek a retired and uncontaminated spot where, free from observation, he can recite the prescribed invocations.
Sorry.
It's all right. Right, let's have it.
Same.
And okay, a second. Where's that come from? Oh, that's from there. Right, so then it gives a prayer. Holy, Holy Father. Right, nothing's going to happen, is it, if I say this out loud? Because I've said something out loud before that came from a different era and somebody actually arrived. I'm all right. Just checking. So, Holy, Holy Father, increase my faith and confirm me that I may believe steadfastly in thy willingness to vouchsafe me that which I am now asking through Jesus Christ, thy Son. Amen. And further, Almighty, everlasting, merciful God, who didst create all things in thine own honour and praise, and to the benefit of mankind, I pray thee to send me the spirit of the race of the sons, in a visible form, to teach me that which I would ask him, namely to give me a plain and brief instruction in the preparation of the angelic water for the cure of all the external and internal diseases in 7 days. So their angelic water is basically all 7 metals in an elixir mixed together. So I'm just reading from the little notes down at the bottom.
We would like to take this opportunity to state that the dimension does not take any responsibility or advise that you mix these chemicals or metals together due to the fact that some of them may be poisonous and hazardous to your health. E.g., you get mercury mixing up, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And you will die.
That he might direct one of his spirits to visit me all the days of my life, giving true answers and instructing me in all questions and in all matters on which I require information. Give me a docile heart to understand and remember, also to apply my knowledge to thy glory and the benefit of man. O Lord, take not thy Holy Spirit from me, confirm me in divine joy, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Holy, Holy Father, I pray thee, do not abandon me to the spirit of untruth, as thou didst give him power over Achab, but preserve me in thine own truth. In all things thy will be done, through Jesus Christ. Amen.
This house is now cleansed.
Right, Kate's got a random question.
Yep.
Has anyone watched Code X about Da Vinci's popped up Vitruvian Man and the Pyramids? I don't know if it's worth watching.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's always worth watching something, but as always, hold your own ideas and take with it as you will.
Yeah. Okay. When the spiritual exaltation of the magus has been accomplished by these and other prayers, varied of course to suit the purpose intended, and by various ceremonial practices, the spirit is, in magical language, compelled to appear. That is to say, the operator has passed into a condition where it would be as impossible for a spirit to remain invisible to him as for an ordinary mortal to conceal himself from our common sight, without an intervening shelter in the blaze of a noonday sun. When the angel has arrived, continue the ritual. Briefly make known what you wish. Write down his answer. Do not ask more than 3 questions. First, preserve what you learn in your memory and consider it sacred. As soon as your answer has been obtained, say to the angel, since thou didst come peacefully, thanks be to God the Lord, in whose name thou art commissioned, return now in peace unto thy rank and sphere, and come again when I invoke thee according to the order and functions which the Almighty has vouchsafed thee. Amen. Thus we see that the magician of old, who had any desire unfulfilled by his knowledge of the different spiritual potencies and their respective functions, was able, by evoking that one whose power corresponded to his own desire, to obtain whatever he sought. Whether such evocations are now practiced, and if so, to what extent, it is impossible here to say, but probably the modern magician who attained such knowledge would have attained it only after such a novitiate as would render him unable or unwilling to disclose the facts. Indeed, it is the general opinion of modern occultists that the initiated mystic never disclosed anything except his brother adepts, and that what has transpired in these matters has been through persons who failed in the process, but had advanced as far as a certain point. The theological literature of angelology is exceedingly extensive, and one of the most important developments is that of St. Thomas of Aquinas, who is called the Angelic Doctor. In general literature, perhaps the most curious work is Haywood's Hierarchy of the Blessed Angels, which is a storehouse of curious research. Yeah. Oh, mind a little drink, please.
So you're a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Thank you. Right, that's the end of the first part of the white magic. That bit was. Just anything, please. Bear with me a second, guys. Right, so that was the evocation of angels. The next bit in the white magic section is the evocation of the spirits of the. Go on then. Yeah, the next part we're doing is the evocation of the spirits of the elements. Oh, it's really cold. Don't mind me.
Currently just stopping for a drink.
It's so pretty.
By the way, guys, just out of curiosity, if anyone's interested, the next episodes of Help My House is Haunted, well, the next season of Help My House is Haunted is out on Discovery Plus, February 17th, I believe. I think, maybe. Watch out for me again on it.
He'll let you know, don't worry.
Yeah, so watch out for my boldness.
Bold.
I don't-
Just a little bit receding.
Yeah, I didn't know how much receding until I saw it on TV.
Why not let your hair go a bit longer then? We'll just push it forward.
I'm going to comb over. I'm 33.
Oh, dear, make me laugh. Right, what time are we on? Yeah, we'll have a little bit on this. Why not? Dog's growling. Okay. To the old magical doctrine of the spirit. I'm tired. Leave me alone. It's hard work, this is. Right. To the old magical doctrine of the spirits of the elements, we owe some of the most graceful and enchanting fictions in literature. It supplied Pope with the supernatural machinery for his inimitable rape of the law, while in old Latin treatise of Paracelsus suggested the groundwork of Undine, one of the most dainty and delicate of all German fairy tales. Oriental romance is also replete with the operative wonders of these and kindred beings, for the Paris, Jinn, and the freaks of Arabian imaginative writers are substantially identical with Western conceptions concerning elementary spirits. The possible existence of such intelligences has been seriously debated even by the scientific writers of this epoch. In the Unseen Universe, a chapter is filled with speculations as to the association of delicate cosmical processes in this visible universe with the operations of unseen intelligences residing within it. The belief in the connection of personal agents with the more startling natural phenomena is admitted to have been extensively prevalent during the Middle Ages, when imagination peopled, it does say peopled, the four elements with intelligences normally unseen, some of them friendly to man, some of them his deadly enemies. They are powerful and conscious of their power, but at the same time profoundly and mournfully aware that they are without a soul. Their life depends upon the continuance of some natural object, and hence for them there is no immortality. Sometimes, however, an elementary spirit procures a soul by means of a loving union with one of the human race. At other times, the reverse happens, and the soul of the mortal is lost, who, leaving the haunts of men, associates with these soulless, but often amiable and affectionate beings. Ben, discuss the lack of souls in these.
What do you mean by lack of souls?
It says they don't have souls. Unless they get one from a human.
Exactly.
Yeah, why?
It's to do with energy frequencies. Obviously, you aren't going to put a AA battery and stuff that needs car battery.
But why would they want a human soul then?
The energy flow. But this is at a time where the concept of demons buying your soul and everything was starting to come to the end, and the understanding of more the scientific side was starting to approach. So this is the only problem with this book. Obviously, it's still 1800s. So the idea that things are after your soul is still there because the Christian church has made it so over the past 1,000 years. So, like I said at the beginning of this, a lot of this stuff in this book is outdated. However, the terminology and the practices are still in use. So, I can leave you that.
Thank you. On the other hand, there are writers who also at this day believe, like Ben just said, at this day, not at this day, 100 years ago, believe or profess to believe that the planets of our system may be directed in their continual speaking changes by the several crowds of governing spirits, that spirits are everywhere the directors of matter, that there exist upon the earth reasonable creatures other than men, having like him a body and soul, being born and dying like him, that these are the forces of the wind, the fire, and the flood, that, in fact, whatever superstition generated in the past, whatever imagination has endowed with a habitation and a name, has an invisible but certain existence. The doctrine of planetary intelligences has been countenanced as hypothetically admissible even by Mr. W.S. Lilly, who is one of the most cultured and thoughtful of later philosophical writers.
There you go. Pretty much says what I just said.
The idea of living forces existing in the elements is not merely of medieval or even Gnostic origination, for this belief was cherished in the earliest ages of the world's history. As a proof of this, we may instance two very ancient Akkadian or early Assyrian. No, my brain just went then. Assyrian incantations addressed to the elements of fire and of water. The originals were translated by Mr. Ernest Budge, the Egyptologist, and published in the Records of the Past. The 108th chapter of the ancient Egyptian ritual of the dead, the Peru, is called the chapter of knowing the spirits of the West. Several of the chapters which immediately follow are devoted to the knowledge of the spirits of various denominations, the spirits of the East, the spirits of Tu, the spirits of An, etc. Thus we see that the most ancient nations believed in the existence of certain living forces of nature, whose chiefs they named and invoked, and we shall find the same ideas prevalent in both the Scandinavian and the Indian mythology. The discriminating disciple of mysticism, however, while admitting the complete possibility of the existence of intelligences both inferior and superior to humanity, will do well to remember that some of the elaborate hypotheses concerning them are devoid of scientific value, being structures equally clumsy and inadequate, which have been based upon partial experiment. The most popular presentation of the doctrine of elementary spirits is found in a little book entitled The Comte de Gablis, a work of the Abbé de Villiers, published at the close of the last century. It possesses the merit, which is rare in a popular handbook, of being quite representative and accurate so far as it goes, albeit so doubtful in its character as to have frequently passed for a satire. It is an excellent tract for citation within its individual lines.
And unfortunately, there are no longer any of them books in circulation. They're all privately owned. So that's the last 6, 7 copies are all in private circulations. I will, can't 100% guarantee this, but I will try and get a friend of mine who happens to have a copy to get some photos of it over, however he's a bit selfish, not sharing.
He pays for it, it says. He don't want to share.
Pretty well, it's not that. He's paid a lot of money to have it. He doesn't like it being out in public domain.
Yeah. Is it less of the value of it?
Yeah, can't blame him when he brought it for, I think it was 5.1 million pound. You can't argue with him not wanting to share the book.
Yeah. To view this page, £300.
Yeah.
I did to get to. Ah. It is sufficient for our purpose to state what is very generally known, that the 4 official elements have from time immemorial, yeah, that word, been supposed to swarm with a variety of, on the whole, subhuman intelligences, who are formally grouped into 4 broad species. The air is inhabited by the amiable race of sylphs, the sea by the delightful and beautiful undines, the earth by the industrious race of swarthy gnomes, and the fire by the exalted and glorious nation of salamanders, who are supreme in the elementary hierarchy. There is a close analogy in the natures of all these intelligences with the more lofty constitution of certain angelical choirs, for in the compodious apology for the society called Rosicrucian, written by Robert Flood, it is stated that the seraphim virtues and the powers are of a fiery character, and the cherubim are terrestrial, thrones and archangels are aquatic, while the dominations and the principalities are aerial. Get my breath on this one. When you shall be lifted among the children of the philosophers, says the Comte de Gablis, when your eyes shall have been fortified with the use of the most sacred medicine, you will immediately discover that the elements are inhabited by singular perfect beings, of whose knowledge the sin of Adam hath deprived the most wretched posterity. Yon immense space which intervenes between earth and heaven hath far more noble inhabitants than birds or gnats. Those vast seas have innumerable other guests than the whales and the dolphins. The profundities of the earth are not for the moles alone, and the more noble element of fire was not created to remain void and useless. The air is full of innumerable multitude of people of human form, somewhat fierce in their aspect, but in reality tractable, great lovers of science, excessively subtle, officious to the sages, and only hostile to the foolish and ignorant. Their wives and daughters are beauties of a masculine character, much after the manner of the Amazons. The seas and the rivers are inhabited as well as the air, and the beings who fill them were dominated nymphs or undines by the antique doctors of wisdom. They beget but few males, but the women are abundant, and they are exceedingly beautiful, and the daughters of men cannot compare with them. The earth is populated to a short distance of its centre with gnomes, people of low stature, the guardians of buried treasure, of mines, of precious stones. They are ingenious, amicable to humanity, and commanded with facility. They supply the children of the sages with the money which they need and desire, no other wages for their labours but the glory of the service. The Nomides, their wives, are diminutive but exceptionally pretty and very quaint in attire. As to the salamanders, the ingenious inhabitants of the fiery region, they serve the philosophers, but are not anxious to court their company, and their wives and daughters are rarely visible. The wives of the salamanders are more beautiful than any of the rest, for their element is purer, and you will be more charmed with their beauty of their minds than even with their physical perfections. Yet you cannot but pity these hapless creatures when I tell you that their souls are mortal, and that they have no hopes of enjoying the eternal being whom they know and religiously adore. Composed of the purest parts of the elements which they inhabit, and having no contrary qualities, they subsist, it is true, for many ages. Yet what is time in comparison with everlasting? They must eventually return to the abyss of nothing. So much does this thought affect them, that it is frequently hard to console them. But God, whose mercy is infinite, revealed to our fathers, the philosophers, a remedy for this evil. They learned that in the same manner that man, by the alliance which he hath contracted with God, has been made partaker of divinity, so may the sylphs, gnomes, undines, and salamanders, by the alliance which can man be made partakers of immortality, and of the bliss to which we aspire, when one of them is so happy as to be married to a sage, while elementaries of the masculine kind can attire to the same glorious end, by effecting a union with the daughters of the human race. Oh my gosh. That's a big paragraph.
That was a big power.
That was a big paragraph. I'm not going to read any more tonight.
Completely random off subject. That's obviously I've been sat here doing research and prepping for a TV show. Come across just interesting stories that you might find a bit of a giggle, shall we say? So I'm just going to make a little bit of loose Dr. Pepper in a sec before I start.
I love you.
Right, it's a bit of a random one, but you might find it quite funny. So, I'm going to read halfway through down because it's halfway through a bit of something else that I was just randomly reading.
Randomly read. You don't read randomly.
So, at the end of the 17th century, an odd lawsuit was tried in court in Posen, Germany.
Posen.
A young man forced his way into a cellar of a locked house and was later found dead on the threshold. Demons then set up housekeeping inside and created several disruptions. The owners of the house were frightened into leaving. Local exorcists failed to expel the demons, and so an expert was summoned. Yeah. Rabbi Joe Ball of blah blah blah. I'm not even trying to pronounce it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Sorry. He was able to induce the demons even to discover their identity. They claimed the house belonged to them, and they demanded the opportunity to prove this in a court of law. So this is demons stating that they're required to take this to a court of law for the house that they occupy. So, and it gets better. Where was I? They claimed, this is the demons. Hold on. I've lost my bit. Yeah, they claimed occupancy of the spoon. Where have we gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the court of law.
Yeah.
The case.
The case was tried with Rabbi Joe and an invisible demon advocate who could be heard. So basically, they summoned a demon in court, and this demon could be heard speaking. According to the demon, the previous owner of the house had engaged in intercourse with a succubus who had bored hybrid children. The man was prosecuted by a rabbi to break off his affair, but the demon demanded that the cellar be given to it and the offspring as inheritance. The man and all his heirs were now dead, and the demon children demanded possession of the house. The new homeowners said that they had lawfully purchased the house. The demon children were not legitimate seeds of men, and so had no legal right. In addition, the demons had forced the previous owners into sexual relationships. The court decided against the demons, saying that their abode were deserted and wastelands, were deserts and wastelands even, not the homes of men. Rabbi Joe performed an exorcism that drove away the demons. That was an actual court case, like word for word court case in Germany. Don't quite know what to make of that one. That's why I thought I'd read it out and give you guys a bit of a giggle. Yeah, that's all I can say. All I can say on that one. 17th century. Yeah. I think that kind of sums it up there. Vonnie, yeah.
I'll let you do it.
Yeah. So, Vonnie's comment first. Okay, well, can't disagree with the law. Annette saying, whoa. Selfish saying that's cool. I want to know what they were on. Where in Germany? The place, Kate, is
Start out.
it's Posen. I've tried pronouncing it, but I can't seem to pronounce it. So that is Papa Oscar Sierra Echo November. Just in case anyone needs to spell it properly. Minus my accent, you can never understand what I'm on about. But yeah, there's quite a few in here that are in the book that are a bit strange. I might have to dive back into this book at some point because I'm currently working out of that book as normal. Some of the court cases in here are interesting. Nothing surprises me. The old laws, they murdered many witches. Yep. Yeah, in Texas would have put me deep. Yeah. Yeah. So next week's show, I might go back through that book during the week, and I might find some of the most ridiculous court cases I can involving spirits in that, and just see what we can find up. Super east border of Poland. Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. That's like one of the there was one that the Pope did going back a long time ago, where a Pope dug up a previous Pope who was dead and decomposing, and then tried him at court for something. I'll see if I can bring it back up, but that was a very weird one. Would have been Prussia then. Crazy things go on there. Yeah, Prussia was a very strange place. But guys, that is it for tonight's show. I just wanted to give that little bit of a giggle at the end of it. So next week, you don't have a divination, do you?
I'm not doing any divination now until after the event that we're doing.
Yep.
In 2 weeks' time, because it's like, don't yawn, just don't yawn. Ooh, we need to get making items for a store.
Yep.
So, no time for research.
Obviously, next Friday's show, I'm not sure what we're doing yet. We shall decide.
Obviously.
We shall figure out what we are to do.
Oh.
Next week's Sunday show, as I said, we're going to look at some really dirty cases, see what I can find, because some seem quite interesting. What we got? I read about the Pope a while back, didn't share that. Yeah, I think I might have done. Really enjoyed that. This remind me of Daniel and the Devil film. Yeah. Obviously, we do have a show coming up. Whilst I've got Annette there, me and Lou will be joining Annette on her show at some point. Yes. We are going to be talking about necromancy, a bit of a taboo subject, really taboo subject because it's still against the law.
Obviously.
So, guys, honestly, if you want to join us on the next show. I'm sure she's got an advert up. We will put the one on the page as well for it. But yeah,
When is it? When
I can't remember. Annette, I am so sorry, but at the minute I can't remember. My brain is completely fried after today's antics.
This is why it's better to contact me because I'll put it in the diary. Ben doesn't.
Yeah.
Ben forgets everything.
Yes. We were supposed to have a guest on.
That you didn't tell me about.
No, both me and the guest completely forgot it was this weekend. So I'm going to rearrange with them.
Nobody told me.
Get them on. Yeah, a little bit useless. Sorry, guys. Let's face it, you kind of get used to this now. But yeah. So on that note, guys, see you in the week. Be good, be safe, and all that jazz.
Go on and
So
upset.
we shall see you all later.
Bye.